God gives the testimony that yes, you will live after your death. Right? Thank you.
Why it is prohibited to face our prayer during certain times, such as one sun is rising or one sun is setting?
Because some people, some idolaters used to worship sun at 3 times, not only 2 times but 3 times. At the sunrise, at the zenith time when the sun was at its highest point and in the middle, at 12 o'clock I mean, and at the sunset time. So because your praying could be misunderstood, or those Sahaba who knew this faith may have also thought of this during the time of prayer, that this is the time when we bow to the sun. So to avoid this embarrassment and this false element of praying to anybody else, Allah has prohibited us from saying prayer on these 3 times. Right? Thank you.
When you were a child, what were your hobbies?
My hobbies?
Yeah.
There were many, quite a few. First of all, to run away from school and to while away my time in the gardens and to go to the stable and take a horse out and ride out to the river or something, or to go to the garden and pick fruits, and to play with other boys, like the hopping game when you draw squares on the ground and then hop. What is called in English? No. Tapu ko Hindi mein kehte hain. I know there is some similar game because I saw once my children playing this game here, so they must have learned it from school. You draw a design of squares on the ground and then you throw a piece of something. Hopscotch? That's it, yes. So I used to play hopscotch and Miro Dabba and Kabaddi and also mock fights, sham fights, and real fights as well sometimes. Thank you. Reading, of course. I was very fond of reading, not the school books, of course, but others. Hopscotch, कहते हैं? Assalamu alaikum.
May I ask you, when was the first time you read the Holy Quran?
I don't remember it because it was early in childhood. My mother employed first of all, we were taught in our home, in our house, by elder sisters or mothers or others. I don't remember exactly, but I remember having grown into consciousness with the ability to read and recite the Quran, because it was a practice that all children in Qadian used to recite Quran early in the morning along with their elders. And the streets of the Quran was so full of this heavenly music of Quranic recitation. So every child did the same. I was not a special child as far as that is concerned. But regular learning of the Quran came later on when my mother employed a Hafiz Sahib. First it was Hafiz Ghulam Rasul Khan Sahib to help me memorize the Quran. And then later it was Hafiz Muhammad Ramazan Sahib who taught me Quran for quite some time, correct pronunciation and this and that. Thank you.
Last PT class I asked you a question and you said you would ask people to research it. and the question was, what does the Khana Kaaba have a material of, and why is it always black?
Why does the Khana Kaaba have
a material over it and it's black? Why does the Khana Kaaba have that material over it?
Oh, you know, I misunderstood the question. I thought he was talking of the black stone. So I answered his question. I didn't answer his question, but another question instead. I didn't remember. I didn't clearly understand because of the problem in that microphone at that period, at that time. I thought he was talking of black stone. He was talking of the black cover, which is wrapped round Khana Kaaba and which you see sometimes in the pictures. Is that right? Yes. Okay. I don't see any significance for that except for protecting Khana Kaaba from the influences of weather. But it has become a sort of tradition which is pursued in un-Islamic way by inscribing it with the Quranic verses and others in gold, while the Holy Quran discourages the use of gold for ornaments in manly occupations, and particularly masajid, Khana Kaaba, etc., should be kept absolutely clean of such things. But there it is a show of wealth and a show of power rather than it being a symbol of subservience to Allah and obedience to Him. So although they do it, I think they do it in the name of protecting Khana Kaaba from the influences of weather, etc. But that is just a gesture. Okay? I mean, that's just a guess on my part. I don't know really why they do it. Thank you. One Sham.
May I ask you, why do we cover our legs when we are offering prayer?
Why do we?
Cover our legs.
Just you cover your legs and not your head and not your arms. You cover your body, not only legs, don't you? Why do you cover your legs when you go out in the streets? Why do you wear anything when you go out?
Because it will be embarrassing if I don't.
What?
Because it will be embarrassing if I don't.
It's not just that. The embarrassment is born out of the age-old custom. If there is a custom of people walking about naked, then they will not be embarrassed by lack of dress. So that is not the reason. The fact is that through long ages, man has learned to be civilized, and to be clothed properly is a part of civilization. So as you return to the early tribes which still exist today and share the same age with us, but practically live in an ancient age, you will see that they are very little covered with. Weather permitting, of course. So, and they have no shyness and no embarrassment. So that means it is a sign of progress of culture and manners and behavior through civilization. Correct?
Yes.
So when it is a civilized habit, when you appear before God, you must be dressed properly. When people go to meet the Queen, for instance, do they go in knickers and shorts or in bikinis? Do they?
No.
Why not? Because out of respect.
Yes.
Correct? So is the respect for God greater than the Queen's or the other way around? Respect for God should be much greater and should have more demand on our attitudes. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Wa alaikum salam. Bhatti Sahib, how are you? Yes.
When a baby boy is born, why do we do 2 goats for a kika and 1 for a girl?